Hello and welcome to the Anyone Can Play Guitar podcast,
which gives you, the listener, a series of hints and pointers on your journey as a musical artist,
providing you with interviews from those in the music industry, along with our own experiences.
Ben and James shine some light on the many pitfalls and opportunities that being a musician has to offer.
Last week we caught up with one of Virgin EMI's latest signings, Adam French, where we discussed transitioning from band to solo artist, scams, the early days of a deal, and playing in Botswana. This week, Ben is on the tour bus of Everything Everything, speaking to Jon Higgs about moving cities, identity, videos, touring, and licensing music.
Hello and welcome to episode 33 with me, Ben, and him,
James.
No jazz hands this week, James, I see.
No hands at all.
You know what? We went all business there. That was first go serious.
Was a bit serious.
So this week, as the title may suggest, with Jon Higgs of Everything Everything, this was took a little while to get sorted out, just completely by both of me and John being busy, and he is in the middle of a album release, recording, promotion, tour, doing lots of fun stuff. But just happened to be playing Newcastle on a certain weekend, and everything worked out. And it was really good because I love Everything.
Yes, as do I. And also you got to draw level 1-1 on tour buses.
Tour buses, yeah. It was a lovely bus. And it was the start of the tour, so it hadn't been like socks were lying around or whatever. It was fresh.
Socks or whatever.
Yeah, it was fresh. But yeah, it was something that we set up with a mutual friend, Alex, who we mentioned in the podcast in a moment. So thank you to Alex for putting me in touch with John. That was a big help. And again, thank you to Nick, his tour manager, who basically sorted the next bit out, which was after me and John were chatting, like the wristbands and getting all sorted on the day, which was a nice day, and then all of a sudden tipped down.
What are people getting out of this episode, Ben?
Well, as you know, we like to try and get something specific to that artist rather than just rehashing, so how did you get started and stuff.
Well, there was a big range of things, to be fair.
Yeah.
You crammed a lot in.
Yes, I was conscious of time. We probably could have talked a bit longer, but I don't want to take all of our afternoon up.
Well, particularly when it's gig day. People are busy.
Mm-hmm. But
it
was relaxed. So we did cram in moving away from home, but not to the place where you expect.
Mm-hmm.
Doing your own videos, changing styles, not dramatically, but just enough for that moment in time.
There was a bit on identity.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's something we'll probably cover in other ones, but this is for a specific reason. And then we'll pick up just something that Frankie Francis picked up on licensing again, because they've done a fair bit of licensing work.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's a very good way for musicians to make a bit of extra cash.
And that's exactly what John says, yeah.
Yeah. Well, as he's said, like one of his quotes was that, the whole just producing records and selling them is not part of the model anymore.
No. No, it's not. It's everything. And that's why these things are important. But we'll get into that in more detail later. And yeah, we've got Shout of the Week. Yeah, you're right, there was quite a bit of crammed in, so hope you enjoy it.
Here we go then. Jon Higgs.
Good afternoon. How's
Thanks
it going?
for having me. Good.
No problem. It is pissing down.
It is, yeah.
In Newcastle today.
And it was this morning really hot, rolled out of bed to like blinding sunshine, and now it's just a total shit show.
It is. Well, I think it's just because we've started the festival. That's what it must be.
Yeah, exactly. It's just getting ready for 5 o'clock to be a total washout.
Yeah, so this is Tomorrow Festival in Newcastle on the Spillers Wharf, repurposing the quayside again.
Yeah.
And this used to be the Orange Festival, didn't it? About 15 years ago.
We did something, I swear, was on this site, not 10, 15 years ago, maybe 4, 5, 6 years ago.
Would it be with Generator by any chance? They had stuff down here.
Maybe. But I think there was 2 stages at either end of like a long concrete stretch.
Yeah.
And you were kind of hemmed in, very much like you are now, but there was 2 stages. I think there was 2 anyway.
Yeah, did they not used to hit each other as well, like sonically as well?
Well, they would seesaw the bands,
so
that wouldn't happen, I think.
Yeah, I think that's exactly the festival I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
But tonight you're on with Catfish. Tomorrow is 30 Seconds to Mars.
Yeah.
And hopefully the weather will get a bit better than it actually is right now, but I'm sure it'll be fine. So first thing I want to pick up on, when James and I
wish we'd seen the 30 Seconds to Mars Day. They were here. That would have been hilarious to watch them dealing with this.
Well, I was just saying, Nick, I just kind of comprehend.
We are not used to this.
I just kind of comprehend the Joker playing on Newcastle Quayside.
Well, yeah, that's true. Actually, I didn't even think of that.
But yeah, one of the things that James, who I do the podcast with, one of the things we wanted to speak about, going right back to the start, is you moving to Manchester for your university, and the reason behind that and what you got from that moving into your music career.
Well, I chose a course in Salford that did popular music and recording, and I really thought that stood out amongst the other music courses, partly because it was popular music, which a lot of them weren't then, and the recording side of it. So half of my degree was learning how to produce music, which is, again, difficult to find. It was difficult to find university courses that would do that. I'm sure there's a lot more than now. But also, so there was that. It looked like a good course.
Yeah.
And it's Manchester, isn't it? Music-wise, they're, I'd say, the best that we've got in this country.
Yeah.
So, I'd be a fool not to go there and try and start a band there, I think. So that was the main reason behind it. It was all music related. The course is there, the bands are there, the scene is there, and the structure for bands is all set up there to go. There's venues of all different sizes, from 10 people up to 10,000, and not a lot of cities can boast that. Even it's just perfectly set up to rise, to make a go of it there as a band.
Yeah, and I suppose it's not as spread out as like London or something like that.
Yeah, London's just total. It's just a total like shit fest when it comes to trying to be heard. And you also have, unfortunately, it's kind of ironic because you can't be heard because there's so many things going on. But also, if you do get heard before you're ready, there's a tendency for the industry to kind of spit you out immediately,
right?
And then not really look at you again. And I think coming from outside of that hub is a really attractive thing for the industry.
Yeah. Because
they like to think that there's scenes elsewhere that they're going to be tapping into, even if it's not true. Yeah. But just having the word Manchester next to our name was kind of exotic enough for a few more people to prick their ears up, I think. And also, we didn't play in London for a long time. We stayed out of it, and then any gigs we did over there all fell through for various reasons,
right.
And I think that helped to build something of a slight mystique around us. We definitely were discouraged from playing gigs too quickly in London because the industry will turn up, take 2 sniffs and walk out if you're not lucky, and you won't get another chance. That was what we were always told.
Yeah.
So I think that was definitely gave us, did us some favours staying the hell away.
Right. So when you actually made the decision to do that, the gigs or whatever it might be, how did that come about? Whose decision was it? Like, was it like a band decision, or you thought, just we've stayed away for long enough, so just go for it?
It was a manager. Well, no, actually, we played a gig in London in order to get a manager. Actually, I seem to remember. No, it was. We were doing them here and there, but we were trying to keep it low. Keep industry
you signed at that
away.
point?
No. Trying to keep industry away. We eventually got signed when the label that were interested in us came to see us rehearse in London. It wasn't even a gig. We literally played like 4 songs in a rehearsal room to their faces.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, okay, this is good. And then next thing you know, they'd signed us. But no, it was kind of serendipity that we didn't play there for a long time. And then obviously when we were trying to get a manager and stuff, we did start playing small things there. And then we eventually did it properly. Yeah.
Cool. So Alex is our mutual friend, how I got in touch with yourself, and he got me onto you and the band. And I think I was around about Suffragette time.
Yeah.
So you did the video for that, didn't you?
Yes.
Yes, and you did you personally did the video for that. So how did you either learn the skills to do that, or what was the reasoning behind it?
Well, I learnt the skills, because just after my A-levels, me and 3 friends went to Orkney on a lads holiday.
Right.
And as you know, Orkney, as you do. And one of them had a camcorder, and so we just made up some stupid like skits while we were there, us singing in a boat and stuff like that, and then sort of farting around. Just basically farting around.
Yeah.
And then we all got copies of the video, and I think I put some credits on it, slightly edited a bit, and thought, well, this is quite fun.
Yeah.
Got some editing program, just nicked it off the internet. And I thought, okay, this is quite good. Then we did it again the next year. It was called like Attack on New York or something like that. It was really, really ridiculous. It was literally September the 11th, 2002 that we made it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Then we made another one that was along similar lines, and then I decided to make a musical with my mate who was involved in these stupid films.
Okay.
And so I wrote a musical, filmed it, edited it, made it completely while I was at uni. At the same time I was doing my course, and then learned quite a lot about how to edit stuff then, shoot stuff then. And then I made another one I never really finished, about a guy who steals his other guy's voice and all this weird stuff.
Right.
And then I was getting quite good at it by then, so by the time it came to we needed a video for our new band, I was like, well, I'll just do it, I just need a camera. And we borrowed some equipment off some mates and just did it, just went for it.
That's one of the things that we've learned from speaking to a lot of people for various interviews, no matter who they are. The just doing it part is half the battle, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
You can think about it forever, can't you?
Yeah, exactly.
One of the things that we did when we first started, I think through sheer blind vision, was let's go on a busking tour and video the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it was class.
Yeah,
it really was.
Yeah.
Similar to what you're saying, just get a video camera and dick about and see what happens.
If it's shit, then okay. The next one will be better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you have to
do the shit ones, don't you? Really?
Yeah, we did some awful things. You should see Attack on New York.
That's gonna make me chuckle in about 4 hours of time when I think about that. So when did you finish uni?
I finished in 2002.
2002, and Man Alive was 2010.
Yeah,
but it would have been about a few years before that.
No, maybe I didn't finish in 2002. I finished in 2006, actually.
Right. Okay. So how
and then
long?
I started the band 2007.
2007, and was that everything at the time, or did you go through?
No, it was. There was another band at uni called Pilgrim Please that had Jeremy and our bass player. But then at the end of uni, that wasn't really going anymore. And then I sort of made a super group of people I'd known forever that were good at what they play. Got them all together to make this band.
Excellent. So that kind of leads into Man Alive. And
that musical I made was actually called Man Alone.
All right.
Yeah, so it's kind of all connected.
The prequel too.
In a sense, yeah.
Yeah. So obviously the album, because I was anticipating the album for quite a while, because Alex put me on to you. It must have been about 2008 when I heard Suffragette.
Yeah, that was right. That's right.
About that, yeah. And the Time Bar had it on the jukebox.
Did they?
And I would always play it.
Great. We used to always get a little bit of PRS from the Time Bar. We used to see it come up as like 20p. We'd get probably was.
So and when the album came out, obviously that's quite far down the track list. So how many songs from that era pre-Man Alive made it to Man Alive? I'm just thinking of artists now who are listening going, I love all these songs, I don't want to get rid of them, but you have to really be ruthless.
Well, it depends where you make the cut-off, but yeah, I mean, the first sort of the first wave of songs, some of them ended up as B-sides, but most of them did end up on the record. I mean, the very first thing we recorded was Suffragette, and that's obviously on the album, although it was a different version, which I think is inferior, but anyway.
Okay. Whose decision was that?
Well, we just thought we'd just do it again so it sounded like the rest of the record.
Okay.
We didn't quite capture whatever we captured the first time. My Keys was the second thing we recorded, and that obviously went on the album. But there was loads of homemade demos and shit before that, like DNA Dump and Luddites and Lambs and stuff that we did they never came out, or they came out as B-sides or whatever. Okay. But no, we kind of hit the ground running with this band, really, because I'd written a lot while I was waiting for the other guys to finish their courses.
Right.
Because I was like, guys, we're going to start this band our way. And I started demoing everything, so we had quite a lot of stuff ready to go by the time we started gigging. We had our first rehearsal, and in order to kind of give ourselves the motivation to rehearse, we booked ourselves a gig 6 weeks later. Right. So we had 6 weeks to become a band, and we did it. We played it and everything. And it was good.
Yeah, one of our first gigs was just a Christmas party. We did 4 songs. We thought it was all right. Then we waited another 9 months before we gigged.
Really? Wow. I was just mega impatient.
So, One of the things I want to talk about is it's probably a decision you've made as a band. So Man Alive came out and there was a certain image around it, but then every album since has kind of had its own feel and image to it. So you've got Arc, which is kind of like that mannequin look. I think that's right. You've got then Get to Heaven is all like the tribal wear. Is that what do you say? That's
interesting.
I would say more of like a cult.
It was meant to be a cult.
Yeah, but like a cult.
I wanted to push it much further than we ended up doing it.
Like a colourful cult.
Yeah, I want to be a sort of corrupt cult leader.
Right.
That's kind of the idea.
Like Polyphonic Spree.
Yes, but with a sort of dark underbelly.
Yeah. And then the latest album, A Fever Dream, is kind of like, how can I describe it for people who haven't seen the cut? Like a face on a face.
Really think that's face? That's so interesting, man. It's actually loads of human bodies all kind of twisting around each other.
Oh, sorry. Your promo pictures were like a face on a face.
Oh, okay. What even were I was? Oh, yeah. No, sorry. Of course, that's a face on a face. Sorry. No, we got masks made of our faces. Yeah. I was just looking at a website, and I saw in the corner of it because I was looking for stupid masks to make some video or something, and it was this. They advertised, "Oh, we'll do a 3D print of your mask, of your face."
3D print.
Yeah, just send us a photo of your profile and your straight-on face, and it was fucking expensive actually, but I did it, and we got the masks and we're like, well, what the hell do we do with these? Like, okay, we just put them on, and that's the photos, our own faces on our faces.
So what are the decisions behind it? All these albums to give it that identity.
Well, we certainly like reinvention, and every time we make a record is a chance to completely come up with a load of new stuff. The costumes we wear on stage, all that kind of things, because we like the albums to have a strong themes, and when people look at photos or stuff, we want them to know that's from that era, and rather than it just kind of all wash together into kind of, oh, maybe they do this thing, maybe they do that. It's like, no, we do this thing, we do it hard, and then we do this thing, and we do it hard, and there's no kind of ambiguity. I think that's partly why it's been a success for us. It certainly feels successful. I don't know whether it's made any difference to our career really, but we definitely enjoy it.
Sometimes it's hard to gauge success as well, isn't it?
Oh, I know. Yeah. Would we be doing better if we hadn't
well,
made strong identities from our own?
Would you have enjoyed it as much?
Yeah.
And have these masks that did freak me out a little bit.
Man, we tried to find them yesterday, but we couldn't, unfortunately.
Do you never go on stage and play with the masks on?
We've talked about it, but we can't sing with them on.
Right,
we can hardly see.
Right.
And they're a little bit more fragile than they look, so there's lots of practical reasons why we can't really do that.
Bit Kraftwerky as well, though.
Yeah, they're a big influence.
Yeah. I can tell. One of the things that James said, write this down and make sure you ask. So you mentioned there about having the going hard on a certain album, certain identity, certain sound.
Yeah.
And one of the things he read about yourself was the collaboration and the wide variety of music that you get into. Let's pick a genre and write like that genre. Why do you want to?
I think it expands your knowledge, musical knowledge. If you outside your comfort zone, if we just always listen to Radiohead from day dot till now, we just, what the hell's the point in that?
Yeah.
We just make their music slightly worse, a lot worse.
Or you would steal one of their songs and use it as a podcast title.
Well, exactly. There you go. Push ourselves a bit, listen to... Well, it's not so much listen to, because everyone listens to all types of music. It's not like we're changing the world by doing that, but trying to force yourself to write in those modes and in those ways. It might be terrible, but you probably learn something along the way.
Yeah.
And also, inevitably, you don't quite synthesize it properly. You actually get somewhere close to it, and then that's actually something completely new, because it's a bit of you and a bit of them and a bit of my upbringing. My musical upbringing has gone into it, so you end up in a completely new place, which is actually really cool.
I suppose you get classic albums like Graceland, for example,
exactly,
or Band on the Run.
It's not an African record, but he's taken so much from it. He's ended up sort of halfway between where he is and where they are. It's great.
Yeah. So a lot of this is obviously learning as you go, and this is the key thing I think for a lot of artists is this: when they start, is learning like what do I sound like, or using other influences, or going hard on a certain thing. What have you learned yourself, and what has been the biggest challenges you've seen as you've gone through these, what we are now, 10 years since Frigette?
Yeah, I'd say probably don't chase it is kind of one of the phrases that we keep coming back to. There's always a expectation we're going to need some songs for the radio, we're going to need the singles, and don't want to be too weird if we want it to be played on the radio, but we don't want to be too pop because, you know, we'll hate ourselves and we'll hate our own music. And this whole thing of thinking about it too much is a bad idea. I think you've got to let it come. When we've pushed ourselves to be more commercial, pushed a song that we're not 100% on, but we think it might do well, invariably we've ended up disliking it and disowning it sometimes.
Okay.
Just never playing it again, never talking about it again, and there was no point in doing that. Anyone that liked that song is never going to, you know, is only going to be disappointed now, and we don't like it very much, and all the rest of it. So I think that's a very good lesson to learn. It's a difficult one to adhere to, though, because it's tempting when you hear something simple and sort of shit doing really well, and you kind of go, well, I could definitely do that in about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But should I? Would I listen to me? And the answer is probably no.
That is a really good thing, because when we were in the band, I have no formal training, self-taught. The drummer had a bit of drum training. Simon had a little. Did he have any bass training? I'm not too sure he did. And the singer certainly had no training. No offence. No, I was definitely meant offence there. And we all just went off, as in, would we listen to it?
Yeah, well, exactly.
Would I put my name on it? And I think that really did help us, because we ditched so many songs.
Yeah.
And I think it's a ruthless thing to do, but you kind of have to. We had a couple of songs which people loved. We just ditched them.
And then you have, by the sounds of it, you guys are all pretty much in agreement. But if you have a situation where two people think it's great and two people think it's too pop, or it's too weird, or whatever, that's when it gets problematic, because you might chuck a song off the album, you know, chuck it away, and then, you know, fans get a hold of it one way or another, and they're like, "This is amazing." And you're like, "Shit," or "I know." So
we're just being mystic about it.
Yeah, but you have to make decisions together, or, you know, you're not a band, you're just a
of course.
whatever, aren't you?
Yeah. Brilliant. So we spoke about how you got into the industry and how you learned the craft, and then 4 albums these days is very impressive, especially.
Yeah, we were surprised we managed it.
Yeah, so and it's quite a nice gap between each album as well. I think that really does help in the reinvention every album. So festival season, festival season and touring Europe festival season, back to America soon as well.
That's right.
Is that one of your favourite parts of this whole job?
In some ways it is. If it feels like it's worth doing, it is. There have been times where you go abroad and no one cares, and you're like, well, why are we here? This costs loads of money. We miss our families. But no, of course it's great. Sometimes I think I could probably take more advantage of being in those places, and I don't really get out and have a look at where I am.
Right. How much control do you got that? So if they said, let's go and do four gigs, 4 festivals in Germany, and you're like, I just can't be bothered to be away for another week. Like, how much control do you have?
that would fly.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
You could say that, but I don't think it's likely. I don't think we tour hard as a band.
Right.
I don't think we tour a lot as a band.
Do you think that helps for getting people through the door if they have
less
chance to see
that's another thing we talked about just today. Jeremy was saying we can't do 5 festival seasons on the bounce, guys. People will be bored of us. And I don't know how true that is. I think it's not true, but I dare say someone will disagree. He will disagree.
Someone will agree and someone will definitely disagree.
I think there's definitely a, you know, when you can't see a band and then they appear, like, obviously that does make you a hotter ticket. But I also think there's a hell of a lot of people in the world, and you know, most of them will never see us. Yeah.
So one of the things I want to speak about is licensing music.
Okay.
So I know you mentioned songs that you don't talk about. This might be one of them, but BT Sport, you didn't.
Oh no, I like that one.
Yeah, okay. So that didn't appear on any album, did it?
No.
Did you specifically write it for?
I'd written a demo that didn't have any words, and it wasn't ready for. It was between the last 2 records, I guess. I think
so. Yeah. Well, BT's when you've been out a couple of years.
Yeah, and they came and they approached us saying, "Have you got any? Would you like to do a song with us?" And I said to the guys, "I've got this thing, and I could put some aspirational lyrics into it that aren't too awful. I think this could work. It
balance.
Feels, and it feels like it actually feels a bit like a sort of score a goal kind of tune." And I was really pleased with it. I actually really like it. Unfortunately, we don't own the rights. I think they own the song or something weird. So they, for some reason, decided to re-record it with someone else.
Really?
After the contract was up or something, rather than redo it with us.
Oh,
and the
right.
new version of it is the shittest thing I've ever heard, and I'm incredibly embarrassed that it's got my name next to it now.
Right.
The new version.
Okay.
Because they've changed the chords, and it just makes it this terrible melody that no one would ever sing if they had half a brain.
That's
So that is actually a sad thing that happened. However, I'm pleased with what we did.
And you would do it again?
Yeah.
Do you get? So how do you get the offers? Because I know you've done something with Xbox before. Is that right?
Yeah,
Was that
we
a
did
while
ages
ago?
Yeah, we did. I think we had a gig for them.
Yeah. How do the offers come in? I was always.
Well, they come through our publishers, or they come directly to our manager. One of those ways.
So is it kind of like a director or producer says, I like everything, or I like the sound they've got. Mm-hmm. Can we get them on?
I don't know what happens at their end. I don't know what happens at their end, because we just get the that they're interested. I would have to assume so. Yeah. You probably need to be someone involved as a fan of you or something, or they hear something, or they want. I think what happens to a lot of people, it hasn't happened to us, thankfully, is that they hear something and they want you to do something almost exactly the same that is theirs. Mm-hmm. I think that would be a little bit more difficult to pull off and keep your dignity, really. But if the money's right,
I was going to say,
and if it's for something that I don't really have many thoughts about football, like it's going to happen. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I don't really follow it. So sure, why not? Why not sing them a song?
Yeah, definitely. But I'm sure there's products out there which you have.
Yeah, there's good and there's worse stuff, isn't there? There's good.
Yeah, because we spoke to Frankie Francis about Domino's pizzas, because they did for one of their campaigns. They're like, we like pizza, we're going to talk about it, and it kept them afloat for years.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
So there's definitely
it's the thing. Bands now have to do so much more crap just to stay alive. Like you used to be able to sell records and make money off it, and that isn't part of the model now. That doesn't happen. It literally doesn't happen. You make your money from playing live shows, and the label takes half of that, and you take what you can get your hands on. So you can the idea of selling out is sort of laughably quaint now. Those older bands who look down their noses at it or whatever, they can get fucked because they didn't have to put up with what we had to do.
Exactly.
They made loads and loads and loads of money.
And you want to make a living by it, but you want people to hear your music as well. And the only way you're going to make your music is by doing this sort of thing.
We've seen a lot of our friends now, they just can't do it anymore.
Right.
They can't make it work. And they split up. Obviously there's more to it than that, but the idea of just being a bunch of poor kids and starting a band now is basically impossible unless you're incredibly lucky, like get on X Factor. That's kind of the only route in, unless you're already quite well off, I'd say. Unfortunately.
Well. So lastly, just looking at the time there, good cause and charity of the week. So again, we just highlight any cause that you may have worked with or quite passionate about, and just give it a couple of minutes here to talk about it. And we always put links and social links to highlight it.
My choice would be Calm, the male suicide charity. We've done a little bit of press with them, just some chat. But I wrote a song which was about something similar, and obviously we just had a very high profile case in the music industry, which we're very close to. We have the same manager and stuff like that, so that's kind of another shell shock for everybody. I don't think I can think of anything more of the moment.
Definitely, that will put all the links in for that, because we have in my family had a similar incident in the last 12 months, and it's a thing that is unbelievable to go through. So we'll put the links out there without a doubt. Thank you very much, John, and
Thanks for having me.
enjoy the gig tonight. I hope the weather is a tinted
You can
windows, I
see
can't
that
tell.
it's terrible.
Excellent. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
All right, James. So, what are you thinking?
The first bit that I liked was the moving cities bit, and I liked it particularly because we've had a couple of people on recently who moved to London, the capital of our country, where there's, as we've discussed, all manner of opportunities because of how big it is.
This was a geography podcast, but go on.
Yeah, just in case you weren't aware, London.
Where that queen lives.
Yeah. So, well, it's a universally, globally listened to podcast, Ben. So,
True.
you know.
Yes, I cannot deny that.
Although, to be fair, I don't think I really needed to clarify.
No. On the TV programme Pointless, I think it was a 98 out of 100 when I had that on for literally that question. But who are the two people that got it wrong?
Well,
This podcast's for them.
it is. It really is. You see? Let's not discount those people.
Yeah, those two people might be the most important two people that listen to this.
Well, indeed.
Yes.
So, John didn't choose London.
No.
No, sir.
No.
He chose Manchester. And it was, like I say, it was mainly interesting on the basis that other people had, for good reasons, decided that London, a big city, lots of opportunity is where they wanted to go because they felt that was going to give them the best chance of
Yes.
pushing on in their career. Whereas John had a slightly different approach and was like, no, Manchester's the place for me. Again, big city though,
Yes,
so there's a lot of similarities.
Opportunities, lots of venues.
Yeah. Great music scene, always has been.
Lots of culture.
Yeah. But the main difference is, you were saying, look, if you go to London, yeah, you might get spotted, picked up sooner.
Quickly, yeah.
But if you get picked up too soon, and in the wrong way, and the spotlight in the big city is instantly on you when you're not ready, the music industry has a habit of just chewing you up and spitting you out.
It
and
certainly does.
it could be the wrong move. Whereas if you can organically sort of grow in a city like Manchester,
Part of the identity.
yeah, it's
Of the
maybe a better move.
Yeah, and one of the things he mentioned about that, it created a mystique around the band. Now, I totally agree with that because when they first came out, everything was just like, you got a video here and a single here. It wasn't slow by any chance. It just had this mystique about it. I think that's a really good thing for a band, as in like making the audience just want more, not just over-saturating it.
So yeah, it was just interesting to say that there was someone who thought, you know what, I think that I need to go to a big city, but I'm not going to do the perhaps more obvious route of London. I'm going to go to a different city. So that was the first bit. And then I don't know if this was just a quirk of Manchester or whether this is something that would potentially happen anywhere, but the fact that they got signed by doing a gig to the label people in their practice rooms
Yes.
rather than them coming to see a gig, that must have been odd.
Yeah, I bet it was, because
You got to give a proper full-on live performance. And on the one hand,
you should be doing it anyway.
you practice as if you sort of playing live anyway. And I remember when we had Paul Smith on, he was talking about how he'd sort of go for it. In the
It's going off.
rooms.
Yeah.
It is going off.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not too much of a leap, but I still think it would feel a bit odd
Yeah.
with 2 or 3 people who stand in a corner of your practice
And they're
room.
literally criticising what you're doing. Not like criticising as in like you're rubbish, as in they're critiquing it.
Yeah, there's
And you'll know that.
almost a binary outcome to the end of the session, which is they like you and want to sign you, or
Yeah.
they don't.
As Adam said last week, it's like a good job interview.
Well, yeah.
And I suppose that's the best way of doing a job interview, is this is what I can produce,
Yeah.
or we can produce. So, yeah, I bet that was a bit strange, but you know what?
Worked.
Put them on the spot.
Yeah.
It's definitely when they've got the chops to bring it back up, haven't they? So,
The identity bit was the other bit I was quickly going to just mention, because again, we've spoke about that with other people, and it was mainly about how other bands have created their own type of identity and style, whereas Everything have gone for as you discussed in the interview, a different sort of style per album.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked John's quote when he was saying, well, when people look at photos, we want them to know what era it's from.
Mm-hmm.
And that instantly made me think of my main man, Bowie.
Well, most things make you think of Bowie.
Well,
but why not?
The trailblazer for everything.
Yes, yeah, because
if you look at a Bowie photo, typically you can know whether
Thin White
it's
Duke,
the Aladdin Sane, Ziggy Stardust, whatever period it is, you can generally go, that'll have been from that part of his career.
Yeah,
he was brilliant at that, and
you've got your low phase and that. Yeah, because a good person about that to talk about that with me, mum, because she'll go. Ziggy, which is like 73 or something like that. She'll know exactly where she saw him, City Hall, what he looked like, and the Aladdin Sane stuff. But
it's capturing a moment in time, isn't it?
And I think it's a good thing. That's why I quite like I go back and listen to the Streets, because the Streets' early stuff is talking about like mobile phones when they were in like the very early stages of mobile phones, and it kind of brings back those kind of uni memories. So, I mean, I think that's a great thing to do, because it just it captures that moment, and like you can go, I like Bowie in this phase, or I liked everything in this phase.
Yeah,
and I got back into them in that phase, and it's like,
because not many acts do that, and I don't, probably more than I'd maybe
subtle changes, but
credit for. But I mean, you've mentioned Coldplay in the past in terms of some of their different sort of styles, imagery, colours for different albums. So it's not like it's a unique thing, but
no.
Yeah, it's not like every single band does a completely different identity every single time. And I quite like that.
It's a good approach, definitely.
I'm going to put I didn't know the image that you were talking about with the masks, so I'm going to put a link or something in the show notes to that picture. They look
it's
real, but weird.
Yeah, I liked it and didn't like it in equal measures.
Yeah, God, that would have been weird if they played gigs with those on.
Yeah, totally. Because there's a thing called this is a bit off topic, the uncanny valley, which is your mind knows that it's wrong. It's not a human. That's what.
It's going to be somewhere in Wales.
No. A bit of Newcastle, canny, and the valley.
Uncanny valley.
Uncanny valley. No, like, so like it's a whole thing about like noticing that a robot's a robot. That's where it comes from.
Right. I just wanted to bring more geography into the
Okay. Yes. Miss Wilson will be so happy about this. But yes, that image it's just an image that they must have played with, but it got me thinking about the album and the style of the album.
Yeah.
And it fits a bit as well. But yeah, you're right. Let's put a link to that. It's a good bit of artwork. But one thing similar in the style is that whole looking at different genres and trying to get influences from different areas. I think we mentioned Graceland in the actual interview about just pulling little elements of this and elements of that. Like I want to sound like this band and that band, but I want to just put in a little bass line from.
Well, we did that, right? There was times where we'd say, right, let's do. Well, maybe we'd be doing a cover for a particular reason, or whether we'd maybe just try and replicate, or like you say, sound like a particular band. Now, chances are we'd end up trying to sound like something, and it would be nothing like what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
But it still produced something that we were quite happy with.
Yes.
And to John's point, it was sort of, well, even if you get halfway there, you might have initially tried to sort of copy something, but because you bring your own self and background and influences to the table, it's going to be, chances are it'll be subtly different. So it's quite a good way of just starting out to replicate whatever genre or a particular band or whatever that's different to what you would normally do and see where it takes you.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, we did that a few times where we'd start a song going, this is really good, and then by the time we finished it, those chord progressions had disappeared into the ether because we dropped it, and we had a brand new song at the other end which sounded nothing like what we started at.
Yeah, I think there's a lot in listening to different things and then just
giving it a go.
Yeah.
And another way of giving it a go, segue, is the whole videos and doing your own videos. And he said it right. He said the first one's going to be rubbish. But you have to
maybe
do
it's the
third.
second, maybe it's the third, maybe it's the fourth.
But if you're having fun doing them, I mean, we spoke about it many times about doing our travel busking to our video, which was, I mean, it's no Anton Corbijn and Depeche Mode to our video, but to us it was funny and it was exciting. And
it was a lot harder in those days.
oh, that camcorder
was not light.
beast. It was massive. And you can do it all on just turning your phone landscape and just doing it on your phone.
Does it have to be landscape?
Better landscape. Because if you do it portrait, you get the two black bars on the side.
Well, not if you're watching it portrait.
Yeah, well, on a TV you wouldn't be though.
Well, you might not watch it on a TV.
Yeah, but you want to try and get it for everyone.
Kids just watch it on their phone, Ben.
Okay. I'm not down with the ute.
Oh, me either.
But yeah, I would say it's another one of those things. Like if you're just starting out, I want to do a gig. Just go and do a gig. It might be rubbish, but no one's going to care. I want to put my own gigs on. Go and put your own gigs on. You're not going to lose it.
Yeah,
you're not going to lose money. You might lose a little bit here and there, but you're not going to lose like thousands of pounds.
And the flip side on that is that, like you say, it might take multiple times to get a video good. I mean, I wouldn't instantly want to put something on YouTube or wherever that was awful.
You've got to get
it's going to put people off.
You've got to get something that you want to back. You've got to get something that you think, I would watch this. And if that's the first attempt and it's rubbish, then well, that's just your opinion, innit?
Yeah, we'd have the danger of the two of us would probably laugh at something and then would happily watch something we've done because we'd be creasing ourselves laughing, but the rest of the world would have no interest.
Yeah, exactly. So
get an outsider to feedback. Bit like on the music, have a trusted
like a tour manager who could go, no.
Yeah, if you decide to go down the video route, have someone who will tell you what they think.
Yeah, and again, a thing, second segue, just for a bit more advice, if you're going to license products, just having that chat of like, do we want to license this product? Yeah, I've got no problem with football. I've got no problem with pizza.
I like his point. He's like, football's going to be a thing.
It's not going anywhere.
Irrespective of whether I do this or not.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of indifferent to it, so...
And that's it. It's just the opening music for, I think it was BT. It's been redone apparently since then.
Well, that was the thing that was interesting in terms of, because in that sense, I mean, Jon said it himself. He's now not happy that his name's associated with it at all.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always a.
There is, but I'm trying to work out the timeline of it. That was probably between Ark and Get to Heaven. So that probably could have just kept the lights on, so to speak.
Oh well,
to allow them to do this.
It may have been, something that was, whether it was a means to an end or whatever. But
yeah, but when you listen to any Noel Gallagher album, any interview about Definitely Maybe, he goes, "I hate Digsy's Dinner. I hate the fact that it's on that one of probably our greatest album." So I think you're always going to have little regrets here and there, but it's not really a regret he had any control over either.
Well,
this is Jon Higgs.
They had the control over saying no in the first instance.
Yeah, true. But
yeah,
as you said, if the figure's right.
Well, exactly, yeah. If it gets some income and helps you do whatever, then that bit at the tail end where you're like, not quite happy with that, still, on reflection, may well have been more than worth having done it.
And you could actually just hit lighten the bottle and do the theme tune for Big Bang Theory, like Bare Naked Ladies, which has given them a whole new audience, and they play that song every time live. Yeah. And every time I see them, which is quite often, the crowd love it. They do that, followed by 1 week, and it's like the crowd go away happy, even if they're like indifferent to the rest of the gig, which is rare. But you've just got to, you just never know, do you?
Yeah.
We finally spoke about Good Cause and Charity of the Week, which was very of now. So Calm was the charity.
Well, a few people, when we've been doing interviews, have touched on how it's a challenge in the music industry in general. Always has been, the whole suicide bit. But I think this is the first charity of the week that's specifically been focused on.
I think so. Yeah, I think you may be right.
Yeah, so very relevant to the music industry, and another good
Great cause, yeah. I mean, I was reading something recently about one of the main problems is us as men don't talk. And this is a great charity, which is
we talk, but we talk rubbish, and we don't talk about
we
some
don't
of
talk
the things
about,
that matter.
That we have to talk about. Specifically men. It's the biggest killer between 19 and 45-year-old men. And someone said, I don't know why we keep telling people to man up. It's the worst thing you could tell someone.
Yeah.
Why don't we just do something better and talk up? Maybe it might be a better thing to say to someone, because you just don't know what's going on behind the eyes, as it say.
Yeah.
So yeah, a great charity, and more than happy to put everything out there about it.
Coming up next week, we speak to music video director David Wilson about getting started, building a reputation, working with big bands, and common mistakes.
We've reached the end of this week's episode of Anyone Can Play Guitar podcast.
Big thank you for tuning in, and remember to stop by iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts from and subscribe so that you never miss an episode.
While you're there, it would be amazing if you could leave a rating and a review.
All the show notes can be found at www.acpgmusic.com, and if you want to get in touch,
email us your questions, any feedback and any suggestions to info@acpgmusic.com.
That's it for now. Keep supporting upcoming artists,
and we'll catch you next time.